Indiana University East, Department of Science, relationship between Ka and Kb. Now, if we have a weak acid, HA, any weak acid, with an acid ionization constant Ka, then by corollary, each weak acid has its conjugate base, A minus. This conjugate base would have a base ionization constant Kb. And what we want to do is to relate the Ka of this weak acid with the Kb of its conjugate base. It turns out that there is this relationship Ka times Kb is equal to Kw, where Ka is the Ka of the weak acid, Kb is the base ionization constant of this conjugate base for this specific weak acid. And Kw here is the auto ionization constant, which is 1.0 times 10 to the minus 14 at 25 degrees C. So now we want to apply this formula to this example, where we have the Ka of acetic acid, okay, CH3COOH, and we want to find the Kb for the conjugate base of acetic acid, which is the acetate ion, CH3COO minus. In this case, the Ka of acetic acid and the Kb of acetate ion, because they're a conjugate acid-base pair, is related by the formula Ka times Kb is equal to Kw. So the Kb of an acetate ion is equal to Kw, the autoionization constant, which is 1.0 times 10 to the minus 14 at 25 degrees C, divided by Ka of the acetic acid. And so I plug these numbers in, 1.0 times 10 to the minus 14 divided by 1.8 times 10 to the minus 5, and I get that the Kb, the base ionization constant of the acetate ion, is 5.6 times 10 to the minus 10. We can therefore see from the formula above that if you have an increasing acid strength, that means the Ka goes up, then the corresponding Kb of the conjugate base goes down. So the acid strength is inversely proportional to the strength of its conjugate base. And you need to be aware that if you have a strong acid, then typically the conjugate base is neutral. It has negligible strength as a base. And the converse is true. If I have a strong base, then its conjugate acid usually doesn't have much strength as an acid. Whereas for a weak acid, its conjugate base is a weak base, and vice versa. The conjugate base, the conjugate acid of a weak base is a weak acid.